You could almost feel the panic moving across Washington in real time. Republican lawmakers defending Donald Trump, while very carefully trying not to attack Elon Musk too aggressively. That hesitation mattered, because Elon Musk was not some random activist walking into Congress with conspiracy theories and a stack of photocopies. Elon Musk was one of the architects of the political machine standing behind Donald Trump's second presidency. He helped finance it. He amplified it. He normalized it to millions of voters online. And now the same man who once stood on stage praising Trump was suddenly hinting that the President of the United States may have things hidden inside unreleased Epstein Files. That is the part people are underestimating. Not the social media insults, not the billionaire ego clash, not even the spending bill war that detonated this entire feud. The real danger began the moment Elon Musk stopped sounding like an ally protecting the administration and started sounding like someone preserving evidence before the ship goes down. Because once a former insider starts publicly implying that the Justice Department may be withholding politically damaging material, every silence suddenly becomes suspicious. Every deleted post becomes a question, every private meeting becomes potential evidence, and the timeline here matters. Elon Musk publicly attacked Trump's massive spending package, calling it a disgusting abomination, and warning that the bill would explode the federal deficit. Trump pushed back. Musk escalated. Then came the line that changed the entire psychological structure of this fight. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. That was not frustration, that was leverage. That was Musk publicly reminding Washington that he was not merely a donor writing checks from the sidelines. He was embedded in the operation itself. He spent hundreds of millions helping build the political environment that returned Donald Trump to power. Then, the Epstein insinuation landed like a grenade in the middle of the Republican Party. Musk claimed Trump's name appeared in unreleased Epstein files and implied the Department of Justice was refusing to release certain documents because of it. Later, some of the posts disappeared, but deletion is not erasure, not politically, not legally, not psychologically. If anything, deleting the statements made them more radioactive because now Congress has a new question sitting in front of it like an unexploded device. What exactly did Elon Musk see that made him willing to post something that explosive in the first place? And here is where the story stops being celebrity drama and starts becoming a prosecutorial nightmare. Elon Musk was not outside the system looking in. He had operational access through DOGE. He was involved in federal spending reviews. He was inside sensitive discussions. Simultaneously, he owns X, the platform where enormous portions of Trump world communication, messaging coordination, narrative management, and political amplification have flowed for years. That combination is extraordinary. Financial access on one side, communication infrastructure on the other. Very few witnesses in American political history have ever occupied both positions at the same time. Now imagine being an ordinary American watching this unfold. A factory worker misses a tax payment and the IRS reacts immediately. A small business owner files inaccurate paperwork and gets audited. But billionaires and presidents appear to operate inside an entirely different gravitational field, where accusations involving hidden records, private coordination, and political leverage become televised spectacle instead of immediate accountability. That contrast is what makes this story dangerous. Not just for Trump, not just for Musk, but for public trust itself. Because if the people closest to power are the only ones who know where the bodies are buried, then what exactly is the public allowed to know before the damage is already irreversible? And that is exactly why the Republican response to Elon Musk has looked so strangely restrained. Watch the body language, watch the wording, watch how many lawmakers defend Donald Trump while carefully avoiding direct confrontation with Musk himself. That hesitation is not accidental, it is political gravity, because Elon Musk is not simply a witness Republicans dislike, he is a witness many of them depended on. His platform amplified their campaigns, his money helped shape election outcomes, his online ecosystem became one of the most powerful political distribution networks in modern America. Attacking Elon Musk too aggressively is not like attacking a hostile CNN panelist or a Democratic prosecutor. It risks triggering retaliation from a man who can redirect algorithms, attention, funding, and millions of politically activated followers overnight. That is what makes this hearing environment so abnormal beneath the surface. Congress is no longer dealing with a traditional whistleblower. This is closer to a partner inside a casino suddenly walking into federal court carrying accounting ledgers. And once you understand that dynamic, Elon Musk's public statements stop sounding impulsive and start sounding strategic, especially the Epstein reference. Because notice what Musk actually did. He did not present documents publicly. He did not release names. He did not publish files. Instead, he implied existence. He implied proximity. He implied hidden knowledge. That distinction matters enormously because in legal and political warfare, implication is often more destabilizing than immediate disclosure. A direct accusation can be denied quickly, but an insider suggesting there are records still buried somewhere inside the system creates an entirely different kind of fear. Now, enter prosecutorial mode for a second. Ask the obvious question nobody in Trump world seems eager to answer directly. What exactly did Elon Musk have access to during his time embedded inside the administration's operational structure? Because the public narrative keeps framing DOGE as some aggressive budget-cutting initiative designed to reduce government waste. Fine, but reducing government waste requires access, real access, federal payment systems, agency spending records, internal reviews, contract evaluations, communication chains between departments. You do not conduct a forensic audit of government bureaucracy by standing outside the building with binoculars. You enter the building, you touch the machinery itself, and simultaneously Elon Musk controls X. That matters more than people realize, because the public tweets are not the real story anymore. The real story is the infrastructure underneath them, direct messages, coordination networks, internal moderation logs, amplification patterns, political messaging synchronization, metadata trails. This is the hidden architecture modern political influence runs on. 20 years ago, investigators followed phone records and paper memos. Today they follow platform behavior, encrypted coordination, private message traffic, timing patterns, account amplification, suppression decisions. The battlefield evolved, the machinery evolved with it. Elon Musk sits directly on top of that machinery. And suddenly the entire feud starts looking different. This no longer resembles two rich men insulting each other online. It starts resembling a containment crisis. Donald Trump needs Elon Musk discredited before Musk's implications evolve into formal evidentiary inquiry. Elon Musk, meanwhile, appears increasingly comfortable signaling that he knows where sensitive information exists, even if he has not fully revealed it publicly. That creates pressure inside Congress, inside the media, and inside federal investigative circles simultaneously. Because once an insider hints that politically explosive material may exist, investigators cannot simply pretend they did not hear it. Especially after the statement entered public circulation and millions of Americans watched it happen in real time. And here is the moral fracture underneath all of this. Ordinary Americans are constantly told institutions protect stability, transparency, and equal justice. But what happens when the people with the deepest access to those institutions are billionaires fighting each other in public while the country watches from outside the glass? What happens when accountability itself begins to depend on whether powerful allies stay loyal or turn hostile? That question becomes even darker once you realize Elon Musk may now occupy the single most dangerous position any congressional witness can hold, the position of a former loyalist who no longer believes silence benefits him. History shows that prosecutors fear ideological enemies far less than disappointed insiders. Political opponents already expect the worst from each other. But insiders know where procedures bend, where records are stored, where conversations happen after cameras leave the room. They know which promises were made informally, which decisions were never written down, which explanations changed depending on the audience in front of them. And Elon Musk was not hovering around the edges of Trump world. He was embedded in it at the highest operational level imaginable. That is why the phrase, "without me, Trump would have lost the election," landed with such force. Most people heard ego. Washington heard ownership language, because that sentence was doing several things simultaneously. It was reminding Republicans how much they benefited from Musk's support. It was warning Donald Trump that Musk understood the machinery behind the victory. And most importantly, it was signaling that Musk no longer viewed himself as merely a donor or ally. He was reframing himself as a participant with first-hand knowledge of how the political operation actually functioned from inside the walls. Now stack the evidence trail carefully. Musk attacks the spending bill publicly. Trump responds by threatening Tesla subsidies and federal contracts. Musk escalates by accusing Trump of lying about aspects of their disagreement. Then comes the Epstein insinuation, then deleted posts, then congressional attention intensifies, then speculation begins about what records Congress may request next. Notice the trajectory. Every stage moves from politics toward documentation, from rhetoric toward evidence, from public performance toward potential subpoena territory. And that transition should make every person watching this deeply uncomfortable regardless of party affiliation. Because if Elon Musk truly possesses categories of internal financial data, platform communication records, or private coordination evidence connected to people orbiting the administration, then the issue is no longer whether you personally like Donald Trump or dislike Elon Musk. The issue becomes whether modern political systems are now so intertwined with billionaire-controlled technology platforms that private individuals can potentially hold government-level informational leverage over elected power itself. That is a completely different category of democratic vulnerability. Think about how absurd this would sound 20 years ago. Imagine explaining to Americans in the early 2000s that one day a technology billionaire would simultaneously control a dominant political communication platform, possess access to federal operational systems, finance presidential campaigns, feud publicly with the sitting president, imply knowledge involving unreleased Epstein-related material, and then potentially cooperate with congressional investigators while half the political establishment tried not to anger him too much. It would sound less like constitutional government and more like the plot of a corporate espionage thriller. Yet here we are. And still, the most revealing part of this entire crisis may not be what Elon Musk said. It may be what Donald Trump did not say in response. Because notice what never happened. Trump did not aggressively demand immediate release of every alleged document Musk referenced. He did not call for full transparency regarding the Epstein insinuation. He attacked Musk personally. He attacked motives. He attacked loyalty. But the system never seemed eager to move directly into full factual exposure mode. That hesitation matters. In prosecutorial analysis, avoidance patterns matter almost as much as direct statements. When people welcome sunlight, they usually run toward disclosure. When they fear sunlight, they often attack the messenger first and argue about credibility before evidence ever reaches the table. And meanwhile, ordinary Americans keep watching powerful people wage information warfare using tools the public itself can never access. They watch billionaires speak in insinuations, while journalists chase fragments and lawmakers posture for cameras. But somewhere beneath the spectacle is a far more serious question beginning to surface. If access to truth now depends on which billionaire breaks ranks first, then who exactly controls accountability in the United States anymore? Because that may be the real endgame hiding underneath this entire Elon Musk-Donald Trump collision, not impeachment, not another headline cycle, not even whether Congress eventually obtains more records or subpoenas additional platform data. The deeper danger is what this story reveals about the architecture of modern power itself. America spent decades warning about the merger of money and politics. What it failed to prepare for was the merger of money, politics, platforms, data infrastructure, federal operational access, and algorithmic influence all inside the same handful of people. Elon Musk is not dangerous to Donald Trump merely because he is wealthy. Plenty of wealthy people turn against presidents. Elon Musk is dangerous because he potentially understands how the machinery works from the inside while simultaneously controlling one of the largest information distribution systems on Earth. That combination changes everything because now Congress is no longer just investigating statements. It is potentially investigating ecosystems, communication ecosystems, funding ecosystems, influence ecosystems. And once investigators begin pulling on those threads, the risk is not limited to Donald Trump personally. The risk spreads outward toward donors, political operatives, platform coordination networks, financial relationships, digital amplification systems, and every hidden mechanism modern campaigns rely on while pretending grassroots momentum appeared organically out of thin air. This is why the Epstein insinuation remains so explosive even after deletion. Not because the public post itself proves anything, it does not, but because the post transformed Elon Musk from an angry former ally into a potential evidentiary gateway. Once an insider publicly hints that politically radioactive material may exist, investigators cannot fully put the genie back in the bottle. They now have institutional pressure to ask follow-up questions. What did Musk see? Who discussed it with him? Were there communications? Were there records? Were there internal conversations about release decisions? Every one of those questions creates another corridor investigators may eventually try to enter. And politically, Donald Trump faces a uniquely suffocating problem. Traditional attacks no longer work cleanly against Elon Musk. Trump built much of his political dominance by portraying critics as corrupt insiders, dishonest media figures, partisan prosecutors, weak Republicans, or members of the so-called deep state. But Elon Musk does not fit neatly into any of those categories. He was celebrated by Trump world until the alliance ruptured. He stood beside Trump publicly. He amplified Trump publicly. He spent money helping Trump publicly. That history changes the emotional math for millions of supporters watching this unfold. Because when a longtime enemy attacks you, your supporters become defensive. But when a former insider turns hostile, supporters begin wondering what happened behind closed doors that forced the split in the first place. And that is where the moral contrast in this story becomes impossible to ignore. Ordinary Americans do not live in a world where billionaires exchange insinuations about hidden files while federal agencies, political parties, media institutions, and Congress orbit nervously around them. Ordinary Americans live in a world where one missed payment triggers penalties, where one false statement on a loan application can destroy a career, where one IRS audit can destabilize a family financially for years. Yet, at the highest levels of power, accountability increasingly resembles a negotiation between rival power centers rather than a transparent legal standard applied evenly across society. That perception alone corrodes public trust whether criminal wrongdoing is ultimately proven or not. And maybe that is the most haunting part of this entire spectacle. The public is no longer watching institutions calmly establish truth through transparent process. They are watching competing elites weaponize access against one another in real time while the country tries to guess which side possesses the more dangerous files. That is not how stable democracies are supposed to feel. So now the question hanging over Washington is no longer whether Elon Musk and Donald Trump hate each other. That part is obvious. The real question is far more unsettling. If the people closest to presidential power also control the platforms, the money, the data, and the hidden communications surrounding that power, then when alliances collapse, does the American public still learn the truth through democratic oversight, or only through billionaire warfare spilling into public view? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because this story is nowhere near over.